So we have pretty much all of the items required. I say pretty much because we don't quite have all of the items, but we have almost all of the items required to set up this high-impact compactor. The only things that we are missing now are the 56 superconducting electromagnets, the 1 ultimate energy input hatch, the 2 vacuum fluid input hatches, and I think that's it. We have basically everything else. Oh, and maybe a few cryo-stabilized flux ducts. So I think we're missing a few of those as well. That is fine. So I think this might not be too bad. We do have enough slime now, and so we should, I think, fairly easily be able to make this ultimate energy hatch. Again, it does require one of those, oh my goodness, there's so many tiers to this. Let's see here. Do we have any of this? It's one of those crafts that is extremely long, and also I do need quite a lot of these repeaters here. It's a very long quest, or craft, but one that would not be made like any better by auto crafting, because it's different crafts all the way down. We're also going to need a ton of blocks of redstone, and then of course all of those repeaters, which hopefully we can now make with all the sticks that we have. Beautiful. We also have enough redstone where we don't really have to worry too much about using too much of it. And then stone-wise, I think that might also be another thing that we don't have a lot of. We have 272, which I think should be more than enough, actually, to make 64 of those, which again is overkill for this craft. So at that point, chat, my goodness, it goes all the way. There are so many tiers all the way down. Let's request a bunch of this modularium. We're missing iron grits and uranium grits. Ooh, okay. That is very interesting. So I was under the impression that we had quite a lot of iron grit. We do. The iron grit, however, is not connected up to our network and thus cannot be accessed, which is interesting. I don't know if we actually need a lot of modularium, but if we do, that could become a problem. I don't think, let me check the superconducting electromagnets. I don't think that these require that at any point in the craft. They don't. Okay, so I think for now, chat, we can probably get away with just grabbing a bunch of this and throwing it in the system. The uranium, however, does point to a more systemic problem, and that problem is that we are using more uranium than we are producing, right? Like currently we have 0 uranium in this cache that is designated for uranium, and the only reason that we still have power is that we have quite an excessive backlog in our power making machine, which is, in the fuel making machine, which is this one, and we've got 180,000 uranium and 20,000 uranium-235 in these 2 caches here. I should probably go ahead and throw at least one upgrade kit onto this guy here, just so you can store a little bit more of that uranium-235 there. But this is the only reason that our power is still going. However, it is going to run out eventually, and currently every single piece of uranium that we make is going through to this isotope separator and being turned into yet more uranium that we actually don't need, right? Like, we don't need any more of the uranium than we currently have. So, I think, chat, that we're probably going to have to start today's stream by finally getting around to making more uranium. Thankfully, I don't think it's really going to be too difficult, because if we want to make uranium, I'm fairly certain that a tough alloy pickaxe will get the job done. Yeah, the tough alloy pickaxe has a 100% chance of producing uranium, and so I think this should be a pretty simple setup, chat. All we need to do is teach our system how to auto-craft tough alloy pickaxes. It already knows how to craft tough alloys, so anytime we need those, it will be able to make them for the pickaxes, and then from there, I think all we need to do is get ourselves an export bus with a crafting card and stick that onto a clicker, hook that up to some kind of vacuumulator that pumps into a drawer of some kind, and I think we have uranium back up and running. I really don't think that it's going to be too difficult for us here. Essentially, chat, what I'm thinking is if we point that at the wall, right, and then we have, we point our clicker at the wall. Is that pointing to the wall? I think it is. Let me, it's not. Let me rotate that until it points to the wall. There we go. So what I'm going to do, chat, is I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to blacklist this vacuumulator from picking up uranium grit. I think we have like 1 or 2 pieces. We don't have any. That is unfortunate. Let me actually see if I can't grab like a piece of uranium grit out of here, like as it comes in. There we go. Perfect. I'm going to blacklist uranium grit on this vacuumulator, so this doesn't pick it up. So blacklist uranium grit, and that should be fine. So that's going to continue to pick up the bone meal and the sulfur, but it's not going to pick up any of that uranium grit. And then over here, what we're going to do is we're going to have the export bus on this guy with the crafting card, and we're going to have you export these pickaxes. I need to go and put that in the crafting cube and also get an actual pick to put in here, but we'll come back and do that in a second. And then from there, all we have to do, chat, is put down like a vacuumulator right about there. Make sure this is whitelisted for that same uranium grit. So shift right click, whitelist uranium grit, and then make sure the bottom there is set to output. And I think we should be good to go. I think at that point, this is basically just going to be in the same system. We're going to have tough alloy pickaxes that are going to hit the wall there, produce uranium grit. That uranium grit is going to be collected by the vacuumulator and then placed into the cache here, and hopefully continue to give us access to the uranium grit that we need going forward. So let's go quickly grab, let's go quickly put our pattern in here, and then let's request our first tough alloy pickaxe. That's not one that we already have. We want one that is full durability. There we go. For now, we can put this one back away. And then the final piece of the puzzle here, chat, is to just simply jump back up in this horrible mess of a room and put the pickaxe in there. At which point, one should be crafted, one should be deposited in there. We should also make sure that the bottom here is not connected, so we don't end up with redstone in there like we did just a second ago. At that point, we set you to left click. We make sure that you have some power. We can do that with another one of these hardened flux ducts. Oh no, it's not gonna... Okay, I'm gonna have to do a little tiny bit of rewiring here, chat. So that's actually fine. We're gonna have to move this up by one. So we can do this. That's very fine. And then we got, I think, if we set this to maybe a higher speed here, we're getting uranium. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. And there we go. Look at that. It's going down into the cache and then instantly being requested back by the isotope separator there. But it's working. And we can maybe even set that a bit faster as well. We do only have 4,000 RF per tick with these hardened flux ducts, but I think that's... Yeah, and this only requires, what, 250? Yeah, this is fine, chat. This is actually fine. All right, so now that we have uranium coming in again, let's head on back through to our main room, and let's see if we can't request quite a bit of modularium. We can, but just not quite that much. Maybe like 60? So close. I don't know how much we need here. I'll start with 30, which will hopefully come in fairly quickly. We are going to need quite a bit, though, because... Oh, no, maybe not. Yeah, we actually only need like 4. Now that I think about it. No machine found, eh? Are you not in, like, here? Oh, our system doesn't know? Oh, I'm a fool, chat. I'm a fool. I've put the modularium blend pattern in the wrong freaking place. Let me cancel that craft. And let me try that again. There we go. All right, so we have the modularium there, and so I think, chat, we should now be able to make this. So let's start with the tiny little one at the bottom here, and then let's work our way up from there. So actually, if I just type in energy input hatch, we should get all the tiers here and should be able to work through this without having to click through every single one. So small, into normal, into reinforced, into big, into huge, into ludicrous, and then of course finally into ultimate. And the ultimate one is just missing one of those cryo-stabilized flux ducts, but thankfully we do have what it takes to make it. And there we go, we have the ultimate energy input hatch. Now, what do we need? 2 vacuum fluid input hatches, and this one does require modularium all the way down. Again, it doesn't look too bad, but it is going to require that we craft quite a bit of this stuff, and we are still missing a fair bit of uranium and iron grit. Of course, we do have the iron grit downstairs, and so we can go and move that in fairly easily, but the uranium, we are going to have to wait on. And also, it doesn't seem like there's an easy way for me to make this iron grit available to the system, given the way that we've kind of set up this this wall of machines here. So someone has recommended that we just swap out our cache for nickel grit with our cache for iron grit here, which I think is a pretty good idea. If we just, well, I want to leave that locked, but if I can grab that, which it might require I move, like, might require me moving that flux duct real quick. But if I just temporarily kind of move you, oh gosh, I've fumbled this a little bit. I think I can still get out of here. Yeah, there we go. If I move these 2 caches out of the way, we can then move the cache for iron here, and the cache for iron ingots up to there. And make sure we take the nickel out so that doesn't get backed up. And at that point, then we can just put an external storage on the top there to be able to access our iron grid from inside the system. So if we do this and then just rotate it to be pointing down, which I think it was there for a brief second. There we go. And then, of course, hook that up again with the old cable, like so. And then re-put the nickel down where the iron grit just was. So here and here. And once again, take the iron out of there. At that point, I think we should be good to go. We're going to keep making iron ingots in that top furnace. We're going to start making nickel ingots in the bottom. Yeah, that is perfect, chat. That's perfect. And now we can actually access the 180,000 iron grit from the inside of our system, much like the uranium here. And so hopefully making the modularium going forward should be nice and easy. And speaking of which, how much do we have right now? We've got 138, which I think, chat, might be enough. Now, we do need 2 buckets and 1 hopper for every tier. So let me make 61 hoppers. And let me make 48 buckets, like that. That is overkill. And I'm also going to make some more chests here, just so I have them when we need them. And then let's go again and do the same thing here with the fluid input hatch. And of course, we'll start with tiny, work up to small, head on over to normal, mosey on through to reinforced, wander along to reinforced. Is that our next? Oh no, we just did reinforced. Big fluid, huge, ludicrous, and finally, vacuum. And of course, one more time, chat, because we do need 2 of these. And boom, there we go. All right, so we have the 2 vacuum fluid input hatches, and we have the ultimate energy input hatch. We'll go put those in our chest of parts, right about there. And at that point, chat, again, outside of the cryo-stabilized flux ducts, which I don't think we have any of, we don't. Let me see if I can't make, is it 13? 13 cryo-stabilized flux ducts? I would be surprised if we have what it takes here just to craft them. Yeah, that was a, a bit of a stretch. I don't know how many flux ducts we have in general and of what tier they are. We do not have any. Okay, that is fine. So we can start by just making more of these. And then if we have the signalum, which we do, we should be able to upgrade those to empty signalum flux ducts fairly easily. I believe. Yes, these guys right here. There we go. Making more than we need is not terrible either, because we can always use them later on for actually transferring power. And then at that point, chat, we just need more hardened glass, which our system still does not know how to make, but it does know how to make the crushed obsidian. Wait, does it know how to make hardened glass? No, right? No. Okay. I might actually, chat, again, take a quick detour here, and I don't know if necessarily teaching our system how to make hardened glass is gonna work. I guess it would work just fine, right, with an induction smelter. Yeah, what we might do is I'm gonna set my input point to here. Let's make another induction smelter real quick. Actually, let's grab the one we have outside, because I don't think we're really using the induction smelter for much other than hardened glass. So I'll grab you, and then I'm gonna put this down, like right about here. At that point, we can then run some power lines all the way around, and we do have some hardened flux ducts here. How much does this use? It uses 200, so hardened is actually fine. And then from there, chat, all we need to do is we need to, I think, what we can probably do is just have the top be the input, and I think it will know, I think it will still spread them out correctly. So if we grab one of our spare crafters, and we stick it down like that, of course. And then, do we have an importer? We do not. We never do. That's fine. We can make one fairly easily. We're going to stick that down. Let's rotate this guy like that, so I can put it down here, and it doesn't need any more cable. That is all good. And then, yeah, I think at that point, all I have to do is just teach it to put the lead and the obsidian in the top, and make sure the left there is set to output on orange, so it pulls everything out. And I think at that point, chat, we should be good to go. So, over in here, processing. Is it 4 pulverized obsidian and 1 lead? I believe. Makes the hardened glass. It is 4 to 1. So we'll take 4 of you, 1 of you, equals... Is it to make 2 at a time? It does. It makes 2 of those. Encode. And at that point, I think we are good to go, chat. So I'll throw you in like so, and then can I request like 128 hardened glass? And does that work as intended? That does work. Nice. All right, this should be fine. You, ignored. You're going to melt redstone. You're going to put the redstone into the flux ducts there. You are going to do that nice and fast. Beautiful. I think you can even put redstone blocks in here, which I think we should probably do. And then hopefully, if we set the correct side to input, we get the flux ducts. Nice. Now, we only need 13 of these, actually, if we're going to get the cryo-stabilized flux ducts for the other room here. So there is 3. At that point, we're out of electrum, of all things. Thankfully, electrum is maybe the easiest part of the whole process. And I think we do have spare speed and energy upgrades. Of course. Our system does know how to make those now, which is very nice indeed. There we go. All right, I think we're pretty much good to go here, chat. We are going to have to get some more cryothium. And it's at this point that it might not be a terrible idea as well to teach our system how to make the cryothium, because I'm fairly certain in the previous stream we did attach the blizz powder and the snowballs to the network, so these are available now via the external storage. So essentially all we have to do is put that in here, and we should now be able to just request cryothium. We can. Perfect. And then from there, of course, all we have to do is the same thing we're doing here with the melter and the fluid transposer. Unfortunately, we are going to have to waste some redstone here, but again, I don't think that's a problem, really. I don't know if you can... Oh, you can dump that. Perfect. So I think with the electrum, that should be basically all of those taken care of. 15 is perfect. And then all we have to do now is grab that cryothium, stick it into the melter here, and we should be good to go, I think. Yeah, nice. All right. So now, chat, comes the final piece of the puzzle. And it's not a coincidence that it's also the hardest piece of the puzzle. And that is the 56 superconducting electromagnets. And as mentioned before, if we're going to get these, we need to automate the crystal binder. And the crystal binder is a little bit of a pain to automate. But it is doable. It's just going to take us a minute. So that is all of the cryo-stabilized flux ducts. And now, chat, it's time for the superconducting electromagnets. So let's go ahead and bookmark these. I believe that we have taught our system how to make the first tier of electromagnets. We have. However, those are not useful at all in this scenario. Now, as for the magnesium diboride solenoids, these don't seem too bad. Does our system know how to make magnesium diboride? It does not. That's fine. We do have quite a bit of it. But we'll teach our system how to make this real quick. So 1 magnesium and 2 boron. Are we getting magnesium? I think we are getting magnesium, but I think it is currently not network attached, which is fine. We can go and rectify that. But 2 of you equals 1 of these. I assume it equals 2. Let me check that, though. It equals 3. Perfect. 3 of those. Incurred. And that, of course, is going to go over on the old alloy furnace, which I think we have in here, right? We do. So I'll throw you in like that. And then let me go and make sure that our magnesium is hooked up to the network. I think it's in here, right? We're getting it from, yeah, this pickaxe. So external storage. I do love having these. It's very nice having enough diamond nuggets now to just whack these on everything. And there we go. At that point, we should have magnesium available. We do indeed. Fantastic. And so that's the easy part of this taken care of, because now, of course, we can go ahead and teach our system how to make the actual solenoids. Like so. And boom. Nice. Now comes the hard part, the elite plating. Our system, I believe, does know how to make some plating. It does. It knows how to make basic plating, and it knows how to make advanced plating. What it doesn't know is how to turn that advanced plating first into DU plating, and then after that into elite plating. So again, the DU plating is really not that bad. It requires uranium-238, which we have 180,000 of, and sulfur, which we also have, I think, nearly 20,000 of. Once again, this is another scenario where all we need to do is make sure that we have an external storage on things. Now, I think this is one of those situations where a tunnel is required, but if we just do something like this, make sure this is set to the same direction as some cabling. And I think setting it to the external storage there will be fine. I think at that point we can just do this, and that should also connect up. Let's see if we have that uranium-238. We do indeed. We have 182,000 of it. Perfect. And then we also do the same thing, of course, with the sulfur, which is hiding out right about here, and is the last cache on this wall not to have an external storage on it. But there's 13,700 of that as well. Fantastic. And at that point, chat, that is basically that taken care of. So now if we head back, we might have to change the sulfur used here. Yeah, it's a slightly different sulfur. I still don't know if that's an issue that we need to worry about, but just to be safe, we'll do something like this, make sure that all of the uraniums are the non-oxide variants, and then give that a quick encode, stick that into our big old multi-crafter. And then finally comes the tricky part, because turning the DU plating into elite plating is a different story. We can go ahead and encode it, but of course our system does not know how to make the dust, right? The crystal binder. So the crystal binder, again, doesn't seem terrible, actually. Our system knows how to make pulverized obsidian, easy enough. Our system knows how to make magnesium dust, easy enough. The crushed rhino dust and the calcium sulfate are the only bits that we need to worry about. So for the old rhino dust, we can crush granite, I believe. Let me confirm that though real quick. Yes, so I think what we will probably do here, chat, is get our igneous extruder, switch it over to granite. It does require a water source, but that is something that we can provide. And as always, we should, first of all, craft some more basic plating, but then also use our reservoir here. Perfect. And then I think all I'm going to do, chat, is just think about how I want to do it. I think I'm going to move you. Oh, it's going to be so, so janky. But what I'm thinking is that we get like a cache, an empty cache. We stick it like right here. We put an external storage on it, like so. We output, not the granite. Let me put this like here. We're going to output from the igneous extruder into the rock crusher, right? So we're going to go, and let's do it actually like this. So this is going to make the granite. The granite is going to go out of the top like that. You are going to accept that granite. And then the granite, the product of the granite, which hopefully this will start crushing once we provide it with power. And again, please forgive the jankiness, chat. But there we go. So you should begin crushing that down. And then essentially, I want to set you to void excess. I want to set you to void excess. And I want you guys not to output to the left. Because all I want to output to the left is the rhino dust. So that should essentially, chat, as long as we put our water source down right about there, that should continually produce granite. It should pump that granite up into the rock crusher. It should export the rhino dust over to here, which is accessible by the system, and then anything else is just going to back up here, so the sulfur and the crushed villemite, whatever it's called, is going to sit in here with the sulfur. So I think that's fine. It's going to take a little while, and we could maybe do actually with bumping up the igneous extruder here with a signalum upgrade kit, if we have the tools, which we definitely do. And at that point, we could, of course, put another augment in there. And maybe even, chat, look at getting a higher tier of water source, because it does seem that the pace at which the water is being placed in there is the limiting factor at the moment. Thankfully, the water sources here are actually fairly easy to make. If we get just like a ton of basic plating and we get our reservoirs, we should be able to make quite a few of these, I think. Yeah, there's 18. We do only need the 8. Although we could hook up 2 if we wanted to. Hopefully that's better. Yeah, that's still not enough, eh? It does go quite fast, but it is still not enough. Like to fully match pace. Now, I'm not quite sure how much of this we're going to need. If we need, well, we need a lot, actually, I guess. If we need 56 superconducting electromagnets, and each one requires 4 elite plating, and each elite plating requires 4 crystal binder, and each crystal binder, so we need 2 of this rhino dust per plating, and we need 4 plating per electromagnets. So that's 8 per electromagnet, and 8 times 56 is 448. So we need 448 Rhino dust, which, honestly, chat, we're probably going to get. It's going to take a minute here, but it is going to get there. Although, simultaneously, chat, I think it would be fairly easy if we grabbed our reservoirs and filled these up real quick. I think it would be pretty easy for us to make the next tier, right, of water source, to make the highest tier of water source. And I feel like we might as well. Do we have an actual unlimited water source anywhere? I don't think we do, right? Let me quickly throw one together. Okay, so at that point, we can make 9 of those, and at that point, chat, boom, we can make one of the highest tiers of water source, and hopefully that is enough. So previously we were producing 80 millibuckets per tick. Now we're doing 640 millibuckets per tick. So 8 times as much water there, and it does appear that that is more than fast enough. It is actually now being slowed down by the rock crusher, which of course we can speed up by throwing in a few more speed and efficiency upgrades, like so. And at that point, it should not take us too long whatsoever. Yeah, there we go. To get the crushed Rhino dust there, we're very close to having everything we need. Other than the Rhino dust, obsidian, again, our system knows how to make. Magnesium we already have. The final step, chat, actually, is just the calcium sulfate, which is its own unique setup, but I don't think it's one that's particularly difficult. Now, I know previously we had it set up along this wall, and I think I'm going to do something similar here. So let me get rid of these guys. And I'll temporarily move this guy, like, just out of the way. And we are going to need a bit more space, I think, than we had previously. We also don't need you around currently. But I think if we just use this this wall here, we should be able to set up this automated system. So, if I am not mistaken, chat, we need the melter to melt down the old sulfur. From that point, we need a ton of chemical reactors. I think we need 4 in total. We have 2. The reason why we don't have the 4 we used earlier is because we used 2 of them to make the actual fusion reactor core. And so if I'm not mistaken, though, we just need 2 more of these, which, again, should not be too difficult. We can request some of the old plating. Let's go ahead and request like 20 of those. Look at that. Beautiful. All right. And at that point, that should be everything to make 2 more of those. Fantastic. So, I also think we need oxygen, which we might have to go and grab. And we also might have to set up another electrolytic separator to get more oxygen because we do need quite a bit of it. But let's bookmark the old calcium here. Let's unbookmark some of these other items that we don't need anymore. So, let's start with the sulfuric acid, because this, I believe, is not too bad. So, yeah, we melt sulfur, and then we combine that with oxygen. We then combine that product with more oxygen. We then combine that with water. We then combine that with the fluoride water. So it's essentially just 4 chemical reactors. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. With the final chemical reactor being what makes the liquid here, the calcium sulfate solution. And then from there we have a crystallizer. So I believe we do have a crystallizer. We do indeed. I'll whack you down like there. We already have 5, which is lovely. But that's going to be that final product. On the other side, we need fluoride water, which is water and crushed fluorite. This is the diorite, right? Yeah, it's the diorite, right? Okay, so I think with this guy, we're just going to have to do something similar to what we've done over here, potentially. But this time, yeah, it's going to be the exact same thing. So let's get another igneous extruder. Beautiful. And let's also get another rock crusher. Wishful thinking that we could just craft it. That would be too easy, chat. Calcium sulfate is fun to automate. It doesn't seem actually that bad. So I'll throw this guy down here. We'll do you right about there. We do need lava, but again, we have buckets, so we can do lava, and we can use 1 bucket of water to get started, but we are, of course, going to have to put a water source here. So we want you to make diorite with lava and water. Let's grab one of those water sources we have lying around, one of the better ones. And that being the middle tier, not quite the highest tier. And we'll throw you down, for now, right about there. So that should make the stuff that we're after. Let's request more speed and energy upgrades. And then we'll do the same thing here. We'll set you to void excess. We'll set you to void excess. Void all would also be fine, actually. But and then we're going to make sure that you guys do not go out of the right side, because that, of course, is where our item duct is going to go. And that is going to take the fluoride powder and turn it into fluoride water. Is that right? No, that's not right, is it? That's incorrect. Because we need to first turn it into fluoride water in the fluid enricher. Okay, so all this needs to be shimmied back a bit, actually. Like that. And we need a fluid enricher here, which again, I think we do have, potentially. From our previous attempt. We do. So you're going to go there. Are you making diorite? You are not making diorite. I don't know why you're... Oh, I need to set the input, of course. There we go. Okay, now you're making diorite. We should upgrade this. Do I have any kits left over? I have some basic kits, but we could definitely do with making a reinforced and a signalum upgrade kit as well, chat. And then, of course, again with the augments. So yeah, that is working just fine. And at that point, we can also put another infinite water source like here to actually produce that fluid. And at that point, the final stage is just to grab one more fluid duct and stick that down with a servo, which I think we're fresh out of. Oh, we have one more left. Right about here. Nice. So that is the fluoride water taken care of. That's going to continually produce basically infinite fluoride water. And I guess right now the setup that we're making is just going to produce infinite calcium sulfate, which I think is kind of fine. We could run into an issue where we don't have enough sulfur, but we have quite a bit. So I'm kind of hoping that's not going to be an issue for us, but we'll find out. So on this side, we need more servos. We're going to need like at least 4 more. I'll make 6. And then we're going to have the molten sulfur coming out of here, round into here. And then I'm pretty sure it's just liquids all the way down until we have the sulfur trioxide. So we start with oxygen, then we do oxygen again, then we do water, and then we make the final product. Okay, so it's oxygen, oxygen, water. Let me crystallize that in my memory by putting down one more water source. We can upgrade this in a second because I don't think that's going to be quite good enough with its current output, but we can upgrade that in a second. That's fine. You guys need the oxygen. Again, for now, we do have a tank. I thought this might have oxygen in it. It does. We do have oxygen right here. Whether or not that's going to be enough oxygen, I do not know. If it's not, we will have to set up a new electrolytic separator. This is the one out of the room with the arc furnace. I did say I was going to put it back, and then I forgot to do so. I should go put it back because the other system is probably backing up due to the lack of like an oxygen outlet. But that should pump oxygen into both of these, at which point, chat, I think we're basically good to go. If we get an exporter, and we export our sulfur, we should also probably request like a bunch of speed and energy upgrades, because I think basically every machine here is going to want that. Export. And if we set all of these to ignore redstone signals, I think we have this good to go. Now, again, it's all very slow right now. We can always speed that up, you know, with speed upgrades and energy upgrades that are coming in slowly, but surely. But I think we're there. I'm starting to regret not building this, like, inside of a compact machine. It kind of feels like this didn't need to be in our main room, but I think for the most part, it's fine. I'm just thinking about how I want to get power up here. I guess we could look at making a signalum-plated fluiduct and using that here. The signalum-plated fluiduct, of course, can transfer both power and fluids. So at that point, we can just run power up to this guy, up to the crystallizer. And then, of course, in an ideal world, we also want to have refined storage up here. Right, so we can access the output. I guess what we'll do for now is we'll put a cache there. Like this. And let's not forget our fluid duct either. Right here. This one, again, we want to make sure that we only take the right fluid, which I think is on the right-hand side. Yeah, so we can probably, again, go and set the hydrofluoric acid, is it? Yeah, to avoid excess. And then also make sure that doesn't go out the top. So the only thing that goes out the top is the fluid that we're after. That's going to head up into there. And that's going to crystallize into the calcium sulfate, which is then going to be stored in here. I'm thinking we can probably... Are we out of oxygen? All right, we are going to have to... Yeah, we're going to have to swap this, which is fine. And the same... no, the sulfuric acid is what we're after, right? Yeah, this is actually okay. Let me get those upgrades in here. The system is basically working. Gosh, these energy upgrades are so much slower than the speed upgrades. It is basically working here. However, it does have a bit of work that needs to be done if we want to optimize it in terms of speed. The good news about this being empty, though, does mean that we can remove this and then just run some cabling over there with an external storage. Oh, and my, speaking of external storage, my guy is out of juice. There we go. Perfect. All right. And boom. All right. So, I believe, chat, that we are basically good to go. Everything does need energy upgrades, but we are now making the calcium sulfate, albeit very slowly. And we do need a ton of it for this this craft if we're going to get 56 superconducting electromagnets. But I think we're pretty much there. I'm going to put like a compact machine here. We're going to have this be full of electrolyzers, or at least, you know, a few electrolyzers. And then we're just going to pull the fluids out of there. At that point, we can expand our electrolyzer system as and when we need to. Right? So in here, we're going to have a tunnel somewhere that goes to the outside world. And then out here, let's just make sure we break and replace that so it works. You might need a servo here. I'm actually not too sure. We'll test that in a second. But at that point in here, we can now put down like as many of these as we want. And we can also run power to the bottom of this. Like that. So it should be getting... And in fact, you know what? We'll even do it from over here just to make sure that it's getting the maximum amount of redstone flux. Power's holding strong. We now have 4 fully sped up electrolyzers producing oxygen for this calcium sulfate. All pulling from that one water source, which apparently is fine. I think this is like the basic one as well. Oh no, it's the highest tier one. Never mind. That's why it's working just fine. And it's still not really that fast. Oh no, why have you... oh, I've messed up somehow. Isaac, you can fit 2 more. I mean, I can move the whole thing forward, right, and then use 2 there. Why you... Did I move this? I did. That makes sense. I was going to say, this should be going at least a little bit faster now. It's going to connect, which I'm not loving. Like, I need to disconnect that, but that's fine. Yeah, that's okay. All right, now we're talking, chat. Now we're talking. All right. All right, now we're cooking. Now the oxygen is coming in seemingly fast enough. Have I set you to not output? No, I have. Why are you not extracting? There we go. All right. Okay. All right, all right, all right. Chat, we're on to something. Give me just as many of these as I'll ever need, please. I feel like all we've done today is make speed and energy upgrades. But we'll get in there, chat. We'll get in there. 179. And then we do have now 512 speed and hopefully a similar number of energy upgrades. Well, the energy upgrades are coming in a bit slow, but we still got quite a few of them. So over in here, don't worry about the hydrofluoric acid, chat. We can speed you up. You're already sped up. We can speed you up. We can also speed you up as well. You're already fast. You're already fast. You know what? Why not? Let's do it. I can see the power starting to falter ever so slightly. This looks like it doesn't need to be sped up. We'll give it a little bump. All right. 257. Well, actually, so very close. Start crafting some? Crafting some what? Oh, the electromagnets? We could do that, actually. Yeah. We could craft, like, the first half, like the first 28. Yeah, let's do it. I really don't think these are going to take too long, chat. Let's cancel these guys. The energy upgrades. I guess we do actually have to do a lot of alloying, which might take a while. The tough alloys and the dibrides. Yeah, it takes 500 tough alloy just for that. That was a good idea, actually, chat. Thank you. So chat is telling me here, and that's not why I want to do that, that we can, if we have like a fully upgraded, or not even a fully upgraded one, but if we just have a reservoir nearby, we can, if we have a portable tank that's full of water nearby, it will be a lot easier to fill up my reservoirs going forward if we want to make more water sources. So if we just do like this, this, and this, now anytime we want to fill up our reservoirs, we can just come on over, right click, and it fills it up. 90 buckets. 90 buckets. So now with these two, we could go and make another 90 of the basic infinite water sources and then craft those up, of course, into the dense ones again. We can also put like a storage bus on this and use it as our source of water, but we already have one somewhere, and I don't think we really need to have the water accessible by the refined storage system. So I think for now this is fine. I think we might be there, chat. Honestly, on the calcium sulfate now. So I'll wait for these last 8 to finish crafting here, which hopefully won't take too long, and then we'll see if we can't get the second 28 electromagnets. All right. So we have 28. Let's go ahead and request another 28. We're missing 2. We're missing 2 calcium sulfate. That's 1. And that's 2. All right. All right, all right, all right. It's taken us like 5 days, but here we are. Begin. Okay. And I think actually, chat, we can actually begin construction on... Also, let me set my spawn point like here. I think we can actually begin construction on the high impact compactor while we wait for those final pieces to come in. So we're going to move these miniaturization field projectors. These do not need to be here anymore. We're going to leave the cow and the chicken in here to witness the high impact compactor. So previously, chat was telling me that we can actually place this in the world, sneak to freeze the current preview to be able to build it in the world. Ah, I see. So I think this is the middle of the room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think right there. So now what should happen is as we place items down, I believe it's going to show the next level. Now, it's still not going to show the fluiducts, but I know we have to put a superlaminar fluiduct, like right here. And at that point, then it shows the next level, which is more of this glass, and another one of these. So this should hopefully make it a little easier for us to actually replicate this build. So now's where it gets a little interesting. Now's where we need our first batch of... and also, I should probably like empty my inventory of almost everything here apart from the bits that we actually need. Just to make my life a little easier. I'll keep a pickaxe on me, just so we can break things if we place down the wrong thing at any point. And we should probably also get some like cobblestone or something to do some building. Because I am going to have to build up fairly regularly. So, what do we have here? I believe that all of these are electromagnets. We then have what appears to be glass on the sides, machine wall on the corners, And then I think this is a fluid hatch. I think we have a fluid one on the top of the bottom. Of course, connecting to those superlaminar fluid ducts. Oh, the blueprint expects powered electromagnets. Use the unpowered version. Okay. Let me unvisualize. Is there a way that I can just, like, leave that over there for now? Because I think this is not going to be too bad just to run through the levels like this. So the next level up is combat machine wall in the corner, which I think is true for the next few levels. It is. And then we have electromagnets, the ultimate energy hatch, and then the lamps. So the ultimate energy hatch, the lamps, the superconducting electromagnets, the compact machine wall, and then I think we also need, let me check, but I think we also need our cryo-stabilized flux ducts here. Oh, no, we don't. This is also... Oh, I see. Yes, okay. So we actually need glass here as well. So this looks right. Next up, we actually need the maximum... So we need all the cryo-stabilized flux ducts in the middle there, and they're also coming... So this one's where it gets a bit interesting, because now we also have to have like glass going all the way out to the walls. Yeah, so we have electromagnets again here, 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 here. And our other electromagnets done? They are indeed fantastic. And at that point, we then need to run glass all the way out. Like this. And I'm pretty sure that these are impulse item ducts. Like that. And then it's glass again on the top, like this. And then we do the same thing on this side. With glass running all the way out. Impulse item ducts along like so. And then let me just check which way around the input and output for the items go. I think it's input on the left. It is. Input on the left, output on the right. So input there, output there, and then of course glass along the top like this. So now this middle area, oh, we also need to do the glass on this side as well, let's not forget. I thought the cryo was on that level. So the cryo comes in this way like this and goes right round the center. Not like that, but like this, with everything but this guy. With the machine, the compact machine in the middle. Like that, I believe. Yeah, it comes in down like that. Nothing on this side. Item ducts and item ducts on that side. So I think that's all basically done. Did I put down the electromagnets? I did. This does need glass though, I think. Even if it's empty. Yeah, so this one is the only one that doesn't have like a topped glass. This is kind of where... This is where the actual machine frame goes, right? Did I miss that? Oh, I did, yes. The actual machine controller goes right there. Someone in chat has handily pointed out that we should place the tunnels down. So essentially, once this is fully built, chat, we're only halfway there. But once this is built, if we want to get power, if we want to actually use it, we need to actually send power in this way. And we actually have to send items in from the outside of this machine through into the tiny atom input. And then also, we can send them out this way. You can not do that. Like, you can just put the diamond nuggets. So we're going to turn diamond nuggets into diamonds, right? You could, if you wanted to, break part of the machine, put the diamond nuggets in manually, let it do its thing, and then break this part of the machine to get them out. That would also work, although it is a little janky. And if we want it to look, you know, maybe a little bit cooler, we should have the tunnels down. So let's... If I get this in, like, around you, I totally can. Nice. Let's set that to down for now. That's fine. We can always change that later. Let's go get a few more tunnels. I think we only need 2 more, which is just one batch. Okay, so let's just... I think we get this glass back, right? We do. So let's just do left and right. So we'll set you to... Oh, left and right is dependent on where things go. Right? It's fine. We might have to reconfigure these depending on where we move the machine to in its final location. But for now, if we just get these down, we can always change those in the future. So I think, chat, that is pretty much level 2 done. Like that. And then, I say level 2. Level 2 of the, or level 3 even of the middle section. The next level is a replica of the level below it. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then it's the same with the electromagnets, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the electromagnets are in the same place. The glass we've already done and the machine walls are the same as they always are. You'll see the some of those electromagnets are actually getting power from the cryostabilized flux ducts that are coming in. You forgot a glass, did I? Oh, over here. I did indeed. Okay. I think it's a glass there, right? Even though there's nothing else there. Is that glass? It is, yeah. So I think that's that done. And then the level above that is back to the top. So we have this like hash with the walls, the glass, and the flux duct. Okay. Or the viaduct or whatever it's called. Superlaminar fluid duct. That's the one. I'm missing one. Oh, no, I have a lot of machine wall. Never mind. And I think, chat, that outside of glass to the roof, which is the last thing that we need here, I believe. Do I really not have all of the superlaminar fluid ducts? I'm going to say I thought I did. And then do we have more reactor glass? We do. Is this the right stuff? Yeah. I was going to say I thought I had basically everything we needed. I do not believe that there is a need for the tunnel, for a tunnel at the top or bottom. So despite the fact that the multi-block does have these superlaminar fluid ducts, most, if not all of the recipes I've seen so far don't actually require any liquids. So I do not believe we actually need a tunnel at the top and bottom. But I believe, chat, that if I'm not mistaken, that this multi-block is now a high-impact compactor. Let me get rid of the cobblestone. Let me get some ladders. Structure found, none. All right, what have I bumbled here, chat? Is a good question. Oh no, I think the reason it says structure found none is because the electromagnets are not built. As soon as the electromagnets all go online, I'm fairly certain this will work. Yeah. Okay. I think it's just the fact that the electromagnets are offline. And the reason that they are offline is because this requires 1,000 redstone flux per tick per electromagnet. And so, if we're going to actually get this to come online and be able to be used, we need to provide it 56,000 redstone flux per tick passively. It just always has to have that for it to be able to work. So, I believe now, chat, we need to up our power. Because, of course, right now we're producing about 36,000 redstone flux per tick from our main reactor. That being the fission reactor. And then the new fusion reactor is producing some power. It's producing 15,000 RF per tick. However, this reactor also uses a fair bit of RF per tick just to stay online, right? Like all of these electromagnets here also need 200 RF per tick. However, chat, what I'm thinking is, I'm going to swap fuel. I'm going to swap fuels for this reactor. Right now we're using molten lithium 7 for both fuel inputs. If we switch this and we use lithium 6 and 7, I think that we can substantially increase our power output. Because the lithium 7 produces 22,900 RF per tick at max, whereas the lithium 6 and 7 produces 55,000 RF per tick at max. So if we turn off prevent input overflow, what we're going to do, chat, is we're going to have another melter, which I'm going to have to make here temporarily because we don't have one. Let me, for now, let me leave that on so that this reactor doesn't melt down. We are going to have to be very careful about this, chat, because if we're not, then the reactor could melt down. Thankfully, it's not going to explode in a massive explosion. That's not usually how it melts down. But it usually just blocks just start to break and liquid starts to seep out. But we don't want that to happen. We want to be fairly cautious in regards to this. So let me see if I can't make another melter here. We might have to request some of that plating. Molten lithium 6 times 2 creates 106 RF per tech. Really? Let's have a look. So I was only looking, of course, at the combinations that make the neutron fluid. However, we no longer really need any more neutron fluid, given the amount that we have. So if we do double lithium 6, that does produce a maximum of 106,000. There is potentially one worrying thing there. We do want to make sure. Again, one of the things we have to worry about is the reactor overheating. Right now, it is at 15,000 MK. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to turn it off with a lever at the bottom here, at which point it's going to start cooling. We don't want to switch fuels. So if we turn it off, you'll see the temperature starts to fall quite quickly there. What we don't want to do, we want to swap the fuels out. We don't want to turn it back on if the temperature is too hot, right? The lithium 6 there had a maximum temperature of about 13,000 MK. So I think we want to make sure that the temperature is below 13,000 MK before we turn it back on with the new fuels. Otherwise, I think things are going to go wrong quickly. Do we have what it takes to make this melter now? I think we should. We do. Fantastic. So we'll run that over into here. So we'll throw you down, I guess, like there. And then we'll make sure that you can go out of the right side. Like that. Extract. So I will try this, chat. I will try the double lithium 6 because 100,000 hour per tick seems good. At which point we could have just swapped this one out actually, but either way, this is fine. We can just take these speed upgrades and energy upgrades over into here. So this is now making the lithium -6. So what we're going to do, chat, is we're going to turn off the reactor. It's going to start cooling down. We can then empty the reactor, if I can get up here, by just shift-clicking on these. That's going to empty those out. From there, we want to take our hardened fluid ducts and run over quite quickly. We don't want to lose too much power. Like so. That should start filling it up with lithium 6. Hopefully a little quicker. Let me set this to void excess. There we go. I was going to say hopefully a bit faster than it's coming in. And then let me check the lithium 6 like melting or like max temperature. The max temperature for lithium 6 is 13,000 MK. So as soon as it gets below 13,000, was it 13,600 or 13,000? I forgot already, chat. As soon as it gets below 13,700, we can turn it back on. I think. And at that point, we're hopefully onto something. We do maybe need more. Like, the lithium doesn't seem to be coming in fast enough at all. Why are you not getting power, my friend? Please. No, the temperature is falling, chat. The temperature is falling. We don't have enough lithium 6 coming in. Okay, hit me with a compound of lithium 7. Don't void that, please. Chat. Things are going ever so slightly against the plan. Oh gosh, no, please stop. This could have been better. But we can salvage this. We're temporarily going to do lithium 6 and 7. Just because we weren't producing lithium 6 fast enough. Despite that, we might have like another isotope separator. Or at the very least, just the power to keep that one going. So we've salvaged it somewhat, and we are producing 55,000. So this is okay for now, I think. Again, if we can get lithium-6 faster, then we can maybe double this to 100,000 as opposed to 50,000. But I think for today, chat, 50,000 should be fine. Because obviously we're combining that 50,000 with the 36,000 that we're making with our other reactor for a combined total of 80 plus thousand. And we only need 50-some thousand. So hopefully, if we do this, we can now pull the full 50,000 out of this reactor, which it does seem to be doing. And so now, if we head on back over into here, I'm hoping that all of these are, if not online already, slowly but surely coming online. However, actually, there are probably a few more that need upgrading here, because right now, yeah, this is getting power from Signalum flux ducts. But if we put it like here, it should now be receiving its full amount of power. And so hopefully, chat, we're going to slowly but surely see all of these come online. There we go. I think they are all green. And so now it's whether or not this has found a structure. It hasn't, which is somewhat annoying, because now we have to go through the somewhat arduous process. Have I missed a glass under there? Of finding out why this is not working. Like, which block did I misplace? Some are still not powered. Oh yeah, you know what? They're not. Maybe not enough power? Maybe. Let me go check my my stuff. One day. Yeah, it's like you are fully out of power. And then let's go check the other reactor. I assume he is also fully out of power. Yeah. So it would seem that we are ever so slightly short on power here. I think right now this is only at 96% efficiency due to our overcommitment to coolers. Now we are a little close for comfort when it comes to you know, this reactor melting down and getting rid of coolers. But now we're at 100% active cooling. So hopefully we can like glean an extra 4% out of this, which should bump that up to about 55,000, the number that we see when we look at the JEI. That is going to take a bit of time though, I think, to move up. However, once again, what I think might be the better solution is to try and make this switch to double lithium-6. So I think that we have time, chat, to swap this. We're going to set you to not go out the front and to void excess. You're going to come out the front. So as soon as that... Oh, you could do with some upgrades A as well. Is this one sped up? It is. Okay, let's turn the reactor off. Oh, no, we don't need to turn the reactor off, I don't think. No, 12,000's fine. So if we delete the lithium... If we turn this off and we delete them... Let's turn it off for a second, chat, just to make sure. Let's turn that off and then let's turn it back on. Okay, because now we're getting lithium-6 in both slots. So hopefully, we should see that power jump up to 100,000-ish redstone flux per tick. Ideally. We do have molten lithium-6 coming in both sides. I'm hoping it's coming in fast enough. I think it is. With one dedicated to each. It looks like we are going up there. There we go. Now we're talking, chat. 105,668. With a 98.9% efficiency rating. Our active cooling is not high enough. And so, to prevent this exploding, I will put that on. I'm happy to accept a 96% max. It will go a bit cooler here, but that's fine. We're still over 100,000, and so finally, chat, I think we should definitely have enough power now for this to be online. Because we have produced, in mere minutes, an extra 50,000 redstone flux. Don't know where my other ladder went. Really? me make another set of ladders, chat. All right. There we go, chat. Structure found, high impact compactor. So there were no faults with our building design. It was just the electromagnets that had to come online. And so now we should be able to use this to actually make our first diamond. Now, as I mentioned before, I believe if you wanted to automate this, or if you wanted to do it on a large scale, you would, use the tunnels to pump items in. I'm fairly certain though that if you are, in the need to get something quickly, you could go ahead and just put some diamond nuggets, for example, in there. Close this up. Let it do its thing. So if we come over to the front, we should see it, working through the progress bar here a few times over. And once it has done, there we go. We can head over to the output slot here, do the same thing, and there we go. Chat, we have 3 diamonds, enough to make our very first diamond pickaxe. So, we've not completed this quest because we didn't have 56 superconducting electromagnets in our inventory at any one given time, which I do think is a little bit of an oversight of the questing system. It would be nice if you didn't have to have them all at once, but we have done that. I guess what we're going to have to do now, chat, is just request another 56 superconducting electromagnets, which we might be close to, honestly, given that we have everything being made. We totally are. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and hit start on that, let the system do its thing and make us some more, just so we can complete this quest. And then from there, we have the diamonds, we can make a diamond pickaxe. And so I guess in the next stream, chat, we're going to come back and we're going to start looking at turning those, maybe making the diamond picks automatically. Again, I don't think we're going to automate the production of diamond nuggets. I think we can just do like one large blast in terms of making a lot of diamond nuggets all at once. But once we have some diamonds, we're going to look at automating those to produce the bedrock chunks. And then we need quite a few, I think it's 27 bedrock chunks if we're going to get the bedrock pickaxe, chat. But at that point, once we have the bedrock pickaxe, aka the bedrock breaker, we can actually break free of this bedrock that we started in right here and escape into what I believe is just the overworld, chat. And at that point, we could then look at potentially completing some of these other quests that are along the lines here. But we could also look at the extreme agoraphobia, potentially going to the moon, Mars, and Venus, as well as potentially looking at some of these challenges as well.